Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter. Keeping an Eye on It podcast from Local Women Magazine is brought to you by Cathedral Eye Clinic, Northern Ireland's leading eye specialist.
Hello and welcome back to the Local Woman Podcast. This is the Keeping an Eye on It podcast sponsored by Cathedral Eye Clinic, and I'm here with three very feisty ladies who are going to put themselves centre stage and tell us what it's all about. This is the biggest female-led podcast in the country. In fact, it's the only one. Thank you so much for supporting us last month. We've had tens of thousands of downloads and lots of people expressing opinions. And when it comes to expressing opinions, these ladies here have plenty to say. So with me today, it's Miss Pauline Carville. Pauline is a well-known singing teacher, but before that, you were a West End actress. And what I love about you is Pauline is also an advocate for mental health, and she's written a book which I think we could all relate to, called Am I Mad or What?
Yes, and it is, am I mad or what?
Loving it. Next to her, we have the lovely Zara McMurran. Now, Zara is a freelance business manager and social media specialist. She's also a Local Woman columnist, which is very important. Now, you run Bossy Business Management. Now, what I love about that is you have claimed the word bossy. I love it. Because bossy's not a bad thing. Bossy's a good thing.
No, it was an empowering name for my business.
And the third lady on our panel for today is the very glamorous Giselle De Nucci. Did I say that right?
You said it absolutely correct.
Because that is an Italian name, but she's all the way from Strabane.
Woohoo!
I love that, and we love it whenever there's girls here from the Northwest, because there's not enough people from the Northwest. So Giselle is a PT. Not only are you a PT, you're an award-winning PT.
Yes, I am.
And you're known as the Balance Coach.
The Balance
and
Coach.
her motto is, you can have your cake and eat it. And we're all about that. Thank you very much, Giselle, for coming along.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Girls, I wasn't sure what to talk about today, so as I was tucking into my McDonald's breakfast, I'm not proud of it, but it's true, something flashed up on my phone and it was about obesity, and I thought, oh, here we go. So apparently 1 billion people are now obese. You're a personal trainer.
Yes.
Why is this? Why are we all so fat these days, or is this even true?
Well, to me, it's because we've been failed by diet culture tenfold, because we've been made to believe from our grannies, from our mummies, you can't eat that, that's fattening, you can't eat this, that's fattening. Everything was about being slim, like with the whole Victoria Beckham era, if you're thin, you're in, things like that. So what does that do? Also genetics. So if you're looking constantly at people who are genetically thin and you're thinking, well, I am doing everything that I need to do to lose weight and I can't. So what do? You go to the next slimming club or the next personal trainer, and they're giving you them incorrect information. So what do? You try that, doesn't work, then you go back to your old ways. So it's being we're being let down by diet culture, and that's making people overeat.
Diet culture is an interesting thing. And Pauline, as a former actress, actually you're still a current actress because you were in Panto recently. Diet culture is something that you must know about. What have you done in the past to keep thin?
Well, quite recently, I actually went on Mounjaro.
And how's that?
Absolutely horrendous.
Really?
I had the worst experience. I was on one injection, and first 3 days I felt fine, and then day 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I was dying. I nearly had to get Robin to ring A&E. I was that bad. I was going to pass out with severe abdominal pain. There was definitely something going on with my heart rate, and I was getting dizzy. My blood pressure was clearly sky high, and I thought I was going to pass out.
And it didn't suit you, obviously. I mean, other people have to.
No, and it has worked for other people, but it certainly didn't work for me. And to be honest, I never really worried about dieting because I was naturally a skinny girl. But it was only when I went to drama school that I noticed everybody was so obsessed with it. So then I started to get obsessed with it. And then when I wasn't well, I was on medication, which blew me up. And there's lots of reasons why people get heavy.
Yes.
And that's what we have to remember.
Yeah.
You know, but it seems to be a huge deal these days. We talk about it more. And I think that's why we all get paranoid about it.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely.
You know, there is campaign after campaign from the government. Now, remember the one, go walking? Do you remember that one? And that was one of the, who doesn't remember that? But all these campaigns, as far as I can see as a layperson, all these government campaigns against obesity seem to be telling fat people that they're fat. And presumably, if you're fat, you know you're fat. So what can be done?
Yeah, I mean, as much as the campaigns always stick in your head, I can't
Yes.
go as that go walking one, but I not only feel that, you know, the government try their best, it's all about mindset and
Absolutely.
wanting to lose the weight yourself. But in another way too, like you kind of mentioned, some women can't help it. Our hormones are crazy.
Crazy.
They are
Absolutely.
crazy. And if you can't help it, then where do you go? So I feel then it's about empowering how you look and feel. And yes, okay, you might be overweight, but feel good while you're losing it.
Now, you're working
Yes.
on a campaign right now, aren't you, with a curvy fashion brand?
I am, yeah. I'm working with a curvy fashion brand. I actually was there on Monday doing a lot of content with them with a curvy influencer as well. And we had the best crack. Those girls, shit, they were just getting changed and they were having the banter. And I don't feel that she is insecure about her weight at all.
No.
And she's all over socials as well. So she's empowered by her fashion, she's empowered by her weight, and she's empowered by, she's actually a mental health advocate as well. So yes, okay, there is an issue with obesity and for your health. Yes. But also I think there's an issue with mindset there too. That we need to
Definitely.
address.
Now,
really
Giselle, it's been talked about a lot. I mean, even when I bought my McDonald's this morning, it was what, £3 or £4. It was cheap because fast food is cheap, and there is a link between poverty and obesity, and there is also a link between people not knowing how to cook. Do you think people should be taught in school how to cook properly?
Absolutely. Like whenever we were at school, we had home economics. Do they even do that anymore? Like,
No, it's not.
No.
I think it's called foods. It's not the same thing. No.
Like I remember, like going back to talking about my Italian culture. Like I remember my granny waking me up at 7 a.m. They go make homemade pasta for 15 of us. So everything has been made homemade. I think the homemade is definitely best because, like, but then when you go back to the fact of poverty, people when they don't have the money, they're making the cost of living crisis is ridiculous. People are finding it really tough to live, so they're going to have to go for the cheaper options, and sometimes unfortunately that is the food that doesn't have the most nutrients, the least filling, so they're going to be wanting to go on and eat more and snack more. But it's about getting people back to basics and learning them how to cook proper food, like one ingredient foods.
It's funny because when I think of panto, I'd got myself into a nice routine.
Yes.
And I was making things like chili and stew.
It actually works out cheaper in the long
definitely
run.
works out
It
cheaper.
works out cheaper in the long run when you cook healthier.
See, as soon as
Absolutely.
we went and done panto, I was out of my groove.
Yes.
And I was paying for McDonald's and I was feeling really sluggish and spending more money. So
Exactly.
even though it's cheaper, then you think, oh well, it's only cheap. It's only a couple of quid for the
All
breakfast.
adds up, absolutely.
But it all adds up, and you could be making a stew that could last you 4 days.
But people don't know how to do it. The problem
Yes.
is people don't know how to do
That's
it.
what I do with my girls. I learn them how to cook as well because it is
You do the
fundamental.
online training programs and things like that, and you then show the girls how to cook.
Everything's about learning how to cook. It's
Yeah. brilliant.
because it's
Yeah.
So good.
like yesterday I did something like like the gyros. We made the wraps from scratch kind of
Wow.
thing. So, but it's literally flour and Greek yogurt. It's easy.
Yes.
But people overthink things because they haven't been taught it.
Yeah.
And then you've got the fact as well, like now that the Muller and Fowler both have to work.
Of course.
So therefore, convenience is key. Yeah. So sometimes that is 3 takeaways a week because they don't have time to cook.
People are
because
really
of-
time poor.
And it's also to do with, like, you know, when people are working as well.
Yes.
Like, I work a
Shift
lot at
work,
night.
yeah.
And
Shift
work.
last
Hours.
night, I was absolutely starving by the time 9 o'clock came. Well, what do you want to do?
Binge,
You
toast.
want something
Eat
really
toast
quick.
marmalade.
Toast marmalade, like
Oh no,
or
honey,
what?
but toast is okay. Bread is okay. Don't get me
You heard it
started.
here first. You heard it here first.
Don't.
I go home for toast tomorrow.
Bread is bread. Oh my god, I make a lot of bread, right? And the girls, anytime that I be like preaching to people, you can have bread. Bread is not the problem. Slapping on the mayonnaise and the sauces and all that on top of the bread, yes, because we're getting in the extra calories. Brown bread, is it better than white bread? No. You can have you like your white bread, you prefer your white bread, have your white bread. Brown bread is simply more nutritious because it gives you the fibre content.
Yeah.
You're going to feel fuller after eating your brown bread, and then obviously then you're getting the extra nutrients that you don't have in the white bread. But in regards to weight loss, white bread is okay. It's basically 80 calories a slice.
Right.
Less than your
We're learning.
This makes me feel much better.
Less than your little 99 calorie bar that you want to have with your tea, because it's diet friendly. Every food is diet friendly when you have the correct portion size.
That's right.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Balance.
Balance.
So you can have your cake and eat it. Because a slice of cake is 130 calories. You're not going to sit down and eat the whole cake. You will if you tell
Unless you're me.
But hold on. If you be like, right, oh God, no, I ate a slice of cake. I can't have that. I can't. Oh God, I'll take a wee bit. That didn't happen. Then you go back, take more. Well, sure, effed it up anyway. I may as well, sure, I'll start again tomorrow. So you eat the full cake. Whereas if you had it says, I want to have that wee slice of cake now with my tea, and I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Move on. That is what it's about.
I like that mindset. Now, there's one thing I do want to ask you. I was asked on a talk show once, and it was about obesity, and it was me and 3 men who were all very clever professors and stuff, and the whole thing was obesity, and I was the token woman, you know, the usual. And they all started going off in this rant about how obesity in children was child abuse, and it was terrible.
Oh my God.
And they all started, like, obviously none of them were, you know, active parents. They were older men, and about how social workers should come in and lift these children. And I was sitting going, I think social workers are kind of busy at the minute, you know, actually looking after abused children. And they really went off on one, and they were so negative about, basically about women, of course, not cooking breakfasts for their children. And it was so sexist as well,
Yes.
I felt. And it was just so nasty and negative. I mean, do you believe that
No,
fat
absolutely
children
not.
are-
You know, if you start to tell a child or to repeat something to
Yeah.
a child, well, that's only going to affect their mental health. You keep
absolutely.
on telling a child, oh, you can't eat that. Well, what's it going to do? It's going to want it even more, like you
Yeah.
were just saying.
Yeah,
So that would be child abuse if you kept
Exactly.
going on about their weight. You know, some children, again, certain things, it's finding out what is working for the child
Yeah.
and what isn't. And maybe something does put weight on quicker than others, you know?
And you know what it's like too? Young children, and you're busy, mum.
Yes.
You're, you know, running errands, doing everything you need to do. Can I have a chocolate bar? Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
It's adding the pressure. Well, no, make sure you select something that's healthy. Yes, you can say that. Well, I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want to have
Yeah.
it.
And then what
and
do you
also
do?
and also the fact too that because children these days are almost all sedentary now because
Yeah.
the gaming.
Yes.
The stuff they don't want that's how they socialise with their friends now, and I think COVID had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Where people like my youngest was a COVID baby, so he was stuck indoors a lot through those times, and he finds it difficult to go outside. So he loves going, and he is just a wee chubby monkey. And I swear, he just comes in and he's like, "Mama, can I have some snacks and a bottle of water?" And I'm like, "Yes, darling, you can." Because why, like you say, why should you restrict a child? It's not child abuse. Like if you give them a piece of chocolate or a bag of crisps, obviously not to the extent where they're eating it 24/7, but that is absolutely absurd. Like imagine.
As well,
Yeah.
whenever you have a baby, what do you talk about? Like, say, for example, their £10 baby.
Oh, you're
Oh my goodness, he's doing really well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my wee man was so chubby, his chin was down here somewhere, and it was, you know, oh, he's a really great size.
When does
When
it
did this
change? When does it change that we're so
Yes.
proud that our baby is like, it's put on 3 pounds? I mean, when was the last time that I bumped into you, Pauline? I'm so proud of myself, I put on 3 pounds. When does that mindset change?
I don't know. I think it's the people that you're around. Yes, and yes, adolescents probably.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, honestly, it wasn't until I went to drama school and I was around lots of people who were worried about their weight.
Yeah.
I never worried about my weight until then.
Yeah.
You know.
I think too, as a mum, I'm really conscious.
Yes.
My child's only 9, and she's at that stage where she takes everything in and is heavily
Yeah.
influenced. And I'm really, did I look fat in this? Oh, sugar.
Oh, no.
What have I said?
Yeah,
Because my
yes.
mum
Yeah.
always struggled with her weight. And I think then it's kind of come on to me. Therefore, I feel like, oh, don't say that, because I'm passionate about it, don't we?
Maybe everyone should just stop talking about it, eat that bit of cake, and say nothing about it.
What significance does it give to a person if they're 2 pounds lighter? This is why honest to God though, like what, you know, like whenever I started doing this, I was like very controversial. Like a lot of like trainers and coaches and things thought like, well, that's not the message you should be giving. You should be promoting health. I was like, but I am. Health just isn't in your appearance.
Nope.
It's your environmental, your social, your physical, and your mental. Your mental absolutely is a massive thing, and it's the main reason why I started Balance, because I unfortunately lost my auntie, who was like a sister to me. There was 3 years in difference, to suicide. And I was like, and then it was during COVID as well, where people didn't have anywhere to go. And, like the likes of exercise as a thing that helped me through my depression massively. I had an eating disorder when I was 16 as well. So it's another reason why I want to push Balance on people and make people realise that it doesn't matter what weight you are. If you're not happy mentally, you're not going to be happy if you've lost 5 pounds or 6 pounds.
Well said as well.
It's all it's in the mind.
And also, the more that you tell somebody, the more you say to yourself, "Oh, I feel fat," or if you're saying you've put on weight, darling,
yes,
or watch what you're eating. The brain doesn't know the difference between you saying something like, "I am really good at this," or "I feel really thin and I'm getting thinner every day."
Yeah.
The brain doesn't know the difference between you saying something negative and saying something positive. So why is it that we choose to say negative things to ourselves?
Oh, we're awful to ourselves.
So I
We're
agree, Kim.
awful to ourselves.
In terms of what you said, that was priceless what you said. Let's stop talking about it.
Yes.
Because the more we talk about it, it's like when I was depressed, the more I talked about it, sometimes the worse it got.
The worse it got.
So sometimes you just need to stop.
So let's
stop.
I love that. Yeah,
I love that.
Keeping an Eye on It podcast from Local Women Magazine is brought to you by Cathedral Eye Clinic, Northern Ireland's leading eye specialist.
Okay, ladies, now we're going to talk about social media, something that didn't really exist whenever I was young, and now I'm obsessed with it. So there's been a lot of chat about the banning of TikTok over in the States. Now, this is something that Biden wanted rid of due to, Chinese spies and all sorts. Trump reckons he's going to bring it back. But what we've seen over the last few weeks is basically people on TikTok crying that they're about to lose their lives. And of course they are about to lose their lives, because people now make their lives, they monetize their entire lives. Now, this is kind of odd, isn't it, Zara? As a social media expert, what is your reaction to banning TikTok?
No. I love TikTok. I feel that it's where it's happening at the minute, and I've read and watched a lot about where social media is going and what platforms to be on and how to promote business and things like that. I feel that as a new business, you can't not live without social media. And I would say to any businesses that I work with, make sure you're on all the platforms, because it doesn't cost you anything but time, really.
Yeah.
Unless you obviously invest in ads.
Unless you invest in a social media manager. Bossy management available.
That's me, available. Thanks for that. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I love social media. I'm a huge advocate for it. Please don't ban it. And
please go out to
please don't.
Biden.
I'm going to cry too. Will I do some and yeah, I feel it's where it's happening at the minute, and I do feel that there is a community that does come from social media. I find for me at the minute, it's on TikTok.
Yes.
And I've built this community of kind of up and coming creators, up and coming businesses.
Yes.
To the point I'm actually doing an event.
Check out my social media for details of Bossy Brunch.
And if I launched it the other day, and obviously I've got this small following. It's not huge by any means, but all those people have booked to come.
There you
if
go.
it wasn't for the power of social media.
That's a success.
I wouldn't have
That's
been
a
able to do
success
that.
story. Pauline, you open your eyes one morning. It's 1989. There is no social media. How do you feel?
I feel great because I hate social media.
Why?
And maybe it's because I don't understand how social media works. When in business, when I started business, right, I was very active. Once I decided what I wanted, I went for it. Yes. You stick an ad in the paper and you got lots of feedback, lots of people joining your class, and it instantly started. For me, in terms of social media, it might be the odd thing come through and the odd person come through. It's all, it's harder. I find it harder. But is that more about me not understanding how it works?
No, I think it's more about the generation. And you have to move as a business and you have to cater to the generations that are coming up next.
Are you calling Pauline old?
Absolutely not.
Is that just what you said there?
No, the consumer, the generation of the consumer, obviously, is getting younger. So that's kind of, I don't think the problem is the social media for you. It's the problem with how the generations consume information and buy from businesses.
And don't get me wrong, I do watch TikTok.
Yeah.
I do. I scroll through TikTok. I do.
You do
and
scroll.
I
I
go,
do scroll.
you know, and then you hear people saying, you know, don't scroll if you want to monetize.
scroll.
And go, but I don't know how to monetize.
But you know, you two could team up.
So I need a
and you could
coach.
learn. Coach, and this honestly, there's so much talent in this room, ladies. Giselle, as a mummy, do you think we should set age limits? I think Australia has set age limits.
16, yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Do you think we should?
I absolutely do believe that we should, because it is, like, even for the likes of children now when they're watching YouTube, I don't understand it. I don't understand the YouTube or the watching.
Oh,
children
you're talking
play.
about, yes.
Go out and play or play it yourself. You don't
You're
really
talking
watch
about
somebody-
people who do those voiceovers as they watch video games.
Yes.
That is so boring.
Oh my god, it drives me mad.
Yeah.
But then, like, the likes of if they watch these people like Paul Logan and stuff who've got like endless amounts of money, and they're
Yes.
like, well, why can I not have that? I'm like,
Yeah.
darling, because mummy doesn't make that much money.
Yeah.
So, like, I think in regards to my little boy was like, I want to make a YouTube channel, and I'm like, no.
Would you let him?
No.
No. I'm in the thick of
because
it too.
like then they're consumed again by they want to get what's the word I'm looking for, like socially approved
Yes.
for
Yes.
with likes and
Yeah.
Validation.
Yeah.
social
Validation.
validation, and then that's going to affect their self-worth.
Yeah.
And I think and feel like it's worse for girls, young girls.
Oh, yeah.
So they're obviously going to be looking at all these influencers, like all these wee. No,
Yes.
my bottles.
ASMR.
Oh, yeah,
my
no,
God,
what you're
no.
talking about is this.
Yes.
But you know, I don't even know. I don't even believe that half of them are making money. You
That
know,
is mental.
I don't believe that a lot of them are making money. I just do not. I think they're sitting because they want to be seen, they want to be validated, and that's the
what it is.
only reason they're on. And you show me a person who's sitting tapping her wee nails on something and selling
Got millions
a
of
wee
likes,
top
but-
and getting what, you know,
mental.
like 30p maybe per item or something.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't. I think young people today are stuck looking, you know, and don't get me wrong,
the
I
search
said
for
I do it at
perfection.
night, but they're either looking for attention and validation. They're looking at on that instead of communicating with friends.
And
Absolutely.
what does that do to your mental
Socially,
health?
well, of course, it sends them
What does it
round
do-
the twist.
What does
Yes.
it do to your mental health?
It sends me mad.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's
So you know the answer to my question, am I mad or what? Yes! Of course, it's mad.
It's the fact too that the people that they're following are all these rich children, and then they're in the search for perfection. So people are like going, I want to do that, I want to buy this because that's what's making them look perfect.
But
You
are
know,
they
like,
really
look-
rich? Are
That's
they?
the key in it.
Zara,
That's
are
the
they
key.
really rich?
That's the key.
I hate to say it, but yes, some are.
Yes.
Like last night, although this is actually probably on the back of this, because obviously you messaged me because my phone is listening to me. A girl came up and she was 14 from Belfast, and she came up on my TikTok page and she had 10,000 likes on her video. I didn't look at the views. And it was basically a wee girl from Belfast saying that she wanted to start TikTok. Her mummy had suggested that she just go for it. She was
Right.
14.
Right.
I think it's
14, absolutely not. We're in the thick of it with my daughter. She's nearly 9. She wanted a phone for Christmas.
good girl.
I stuck by my guns and said no.
There's a family, a mother and daughter on TikTok, and she's only about 9 or something, and she's going, I'm Pauline, and this is my daughter Fidelma, and we love being on TikTok, so we are going to do. And I'm like, what are you teaching your child?
Yes.
Sarah, maybe you could explain this. What is this thing with people going on TikTok and crying? Now, I'm not a big crier, but I know that whenever, like, I would cry, say if my dog died, I would cry. But I certainly wouldn't think, hold on. I certainly wouldn't think, it wouldn't even cross my mind to film it. No. But yet this is a phenomenon. Why
I might get
are they doing
cancelled
it?
for this.
Get cancelled.
It's clickbait.
Yeah. Of course it is.
I'm gonna get cancelled. I'm gonna
Would
go
you
back
ever,
over again.
Pauline, would you ever cry on TikTok?
No, because by the time I've cried, you have to get the camera set up and you have to get your sound right.
And the lighting.
And the lighting and everything
oh
right.
my
Of course
God.
I wouldn't, because
a lot of
crying,
effort.
when it's real crying, it happens there and then. You don't have time. So they're all acting.
Yes.
And you're
It's not
not just,
real.
you'd know.
Yes.
You do your cry acting.
Listen, when these people are crying, I know that they're acting because of the time that it's taken them to set it up. You do not. That's not how life works. And also, when you're crying and emotional, it doesn't even make sense sometimes when you're crying and emotional. And also, you've got to listen to the voice. Yes. I mean, all these influencers all speak the same because they do this, and and look at my local woman magazine. It is
awesome,
filled with lots of different things. And if you come and you join Local Woman, then you are going to be the best woman around. Do you hear that voice? That's not a real voice.
No, it's not.
So when someone's going, I just can't believe this has happened to me.
And they always start with I always knew it was not. It'd be one thing if you started to tell a story and you got a bit choked up,
Yes.
and you went, "Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I got a bit choked." But they actually start full on,
Yes.
ball of
Blur-
their eyes out. Like they're, as you would say in the country, they're like, they're ugly crying, and you're like, it just makes me feel terribly uncomfortable. This is obviously my age where I'm thinking, for goodness sake, where's your mother?
Yes. No,
Anything
you know what
goes, doesn't it really? Like crying online in front of everyone. I feel it's that embrace your emotions and do
No.
it in
No,
front of hundreds of thousands.
Do you know what
Relatable.
do you know what my message is? Get over yourself.
Bottle those emotions up.
No, don't bottle your emotions up. It's really important that you let them out, but not to the world. To people you trust. That's it.
Now, wouldn't we make a great team of 4 mummies? So anybody who's got any problems, do feel free to write in. Feel free to write in, and we'll do a problem page, which will mainly the answer will be get over yourself.
Get over yourself and eat bread.
You'll be grand.
But I'm not saying get over yourself to a genuine person.
No,
I'm saying
no.
get
Yeah.
over yourself to the influencers.
Yeah.
Keeping an Eye on It podcast from Local Women Magazine is brought to you by Cathedral Eye Clinic, Northern Ireland's leading eye specialist.
And finally, girls, I bring you some news. Nightclubs are dead, particularly here in Ireland. Now, these are Irish figures. Apparently, there are just 83 nightclubs left in Ireland. 23 in Dublin and the rest of them around the country. Now, that is something like an 83% decline this in the last 10 years or something. That's Now, we grew up in nightclubs. We're all of a certain age. Well, you're probably a little bit younger, but we're all of a certain age where,
Almost 40.
particularly you and me, we grew up in the nightclub. Back in the day, we would have driven the length and breadth of Ireland. Now, bearing in mind that we grew up in the Troubles, we would have got into our mother's Ford Fiesta and driven to Cavan to a nightclub. We wouldn't have cared. We'd have driven to Letterkenny, Monaghan, Dublin. We drove the country through the police checkpoints. Did we care about our safety? No, we didn't. And we had a great old time.
We did.
So-
we did, but Kim,
Yes?
nightclubs. We didn't call it nightclubs
did we
back
call it?
then.
Discos.
We called it discos.
Discos are, they weren't called clubs. They might have been called nightclubs, but they certainly weren't called clubs.
No.
Clubbing.
Clubbing, no, it wasn't
No,
clubbing.
it wasn't called
That
clubbing.
came in more in the 90s,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it
definitely in the 80s it was disco.
Discos. And there was discos everywhere.
And handbags in the middle of the floor, and then sometimes
And
your
dancing
shoes.
around it, yes.
And dancing.
Shoes were always
I mean,
off.
that's what's wrong with the world now.
Nobody's
We're
dancing.
not dancing at the discos.
What
Exactly.
has happened?
Because everybody's like this.
Everybody. Yes, now you work with younger people probably. Why are they not drinking? What are they doing with themselves?
I don't know. I'm not really a good advocate for that because I love my vino, but I encourage people to drink wine. No, I think they have maybe the fear of the phones being
Being
constant.
videoed, of course.
You know, like I remember saving up my dinner ticket money. 50, selling my dinner ticket for 50p, saving up my 250 for a Friday, getting a bottle of strong white cider, going down a field with my friends because that's what we did.
Gotta love the
Giselle,
field
are
days.
you me? No, but I used to do that too. So your mum would give you like $1.50 for your lunch, and you would like maybe like bring some bread from home, whatever.
Yes.
And then you would like save up your lunch money, and then on a Friday you would go and buy a bottle of Strongbow, sit in the sandhills in Portrush with not a care in the world.
No.
And also, you'd be all glammed up with your heels, and you'd just look gorgeous. I used to wear
well,
wee leggings.
We didn't have as many clothes. But
Oh, when you went out to discos, yes.
Oh, yes.
But
I was going
not
to
down
disco.
the fields.
Not down the fields. But sometimes we went through the fields
To go to the disco.
with the Concord.
Yes, strawberry Concord. Do you remember the strawberry
the Concord, and we used to share
that.
clothes because nobody had any money back then. Nobody had money.
No.
So like your friend would have an outfit like a bodysuit and leggings, and then you would have one, and then you would swap.
Yes.
So you didn't really have much money for clothing, and you just all swap round clothes.
And you looked forward to it all week.
know. Yes.
It was like a massive event. So what's happening now?
Are you going to the park on Friday? And then when it's cold, we used to wear jeans and leggings underneath.
Yes.
Because
Do you know what we used to do? This is hilarious. And Mother, if you're watching this, because she watched the last one. And Mother, I used to...
Go out with
I can't believe
leggings.
I'm going to say this
Have a
right.
skirt on.
I used to borrow my mum's golf wet gear, right? Put it on over my disco clothes. Then I used to take it off in the sandhills, dump it under like a bush, go to Kelly's, and then the next day I would come back and retrieve her very expensive golfing wet gear.
There you go.
And she never knew. Sorry, Mum.
You're lucky it was still there.
Fuck, it's Portrush. There was nobody about. It was Portrush in the middle of
really
Portrush.
impressed by that.
Wasn't that really like? I mean, I am a
very
survivor.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean,
my
that's-
friends.
there you go.
My mum didn't drink, so she always picked me up from nightclubs, and then my friends felt safe, so they stayed in my house. But really, we were, at the local, East Belfast bar. I'm sorry, friends, mums. But my mum was like the kind of, I'm going to say cool mum, because she did trust me, I think.
My mum trusted me too.
Mine's didn't.
But she picked me up and made sure that she was there in the car, so I
Yes.
never really had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Driving me to the coach, the bellman.
What do you call that one out in Tombridge? The Elk.
The elk.
The elk. The elk.
there.
I went there one time.
Yes, I went
There's
there
one
as
in
well
Oma.
once.
There was one in
Oh, there
Oma.
was. Was there one called
Yes.
Circus?
Yeah, oh, that
Circus
wasn't
Newry? Was that?
What do you call the one that had
There was one in
there was
Larne.
one with the three floors.
There was so many. The Boom Boom Rooms.
Well,
Was that
and-
the thing?
and-
You know the one in the Portrush, the
yes.
other one, the
No,
wasn't
but I've never
Charlie's.
done
The
it.
Macro Boy, Burberry's.
Macroboy Burberry's. I used to go there. That was a wee bit more sophisticated for
Do you know
me.
what it is now? It's a hostel for asylum seekers.
Stop it. Isn't the coach a church?
I think so, yeah.
Come on.
For all the sins that was committed during
But
that
the
time.
young ones are missing out.
They're missing
They
out.
are
Like that.
missing
They are
out.
missing out big
Because,
time.
and I do also think, now, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I also think it's the music that comes out nowadays. And I am a big
Yes.
singing person, but I definitely don't think the music is as fun, and there's too much of all that riffing going on, and
It's
and
all a bit
everything's
cool.
and it's all like everything's like doom and gloom.
What kind of music are you listening to?
But listen to your man. What do you call him, Arthur? Arthur who won the X Factor one year.
James
Arthur.
Or he'd
And
depress the life out of
they
you.
all sound the same.
They depress the life
Everybody
out of you.
sounds the same, and that's just an example. Sorry, James.
If you're listening.
Which you're listening,
think
which
I
I'm
knew him
sure
dead.
you are.
You think I knew him dead well, wouldn't you? But the music, the disco music, and the fun dancing music,
they're not
they
gonna
are
have it.
missing out.
What are they going out to have stories? What stories are they
Well,
going
I
to
guess
have?
they all go to gigs these days. They
Their
go to
feet
gigs.
are going to be in great shape.
Maybe that is also why there is an issue with weight, because they're not dancing.
We used to dance until we
they're
had
not- they're not
blisters.
going.
We
They're
were
not moving.
moving and having great fun.
Children don't move these days.
don't.
They don't. But neither do we.
No, I know.
And we used to walk so much because
Walk so much.
most of these nightclubs, because you had no money, again, because nobody had money. back
Everybody
in the 80s
walked
and 90s.
home.
You had to
Yeah.
walk home. You had no
You had to
choice.
walk home.
You
You
had no
did.
choice.
We
And
moved
also,
a lot
you weren't
more.
eating as much because you were using your dinner money.
To buy
skipping out those meals.
To buy
I
cider.
used to just go into the coach because I didn't love drink, and I just had aftershock to make myself
Oh my
drunk.
God.
And there was a
Aftershock.
medical room in the coach. Does anyone?
I was
It's
never
all
there.
coming out. I thought Zara was a sensible girl.
I am
whenever she
sensible
arrived.
in comparison to the people that are in the coach. But yeah, it was
Of course, we do not promote unhealthy drinking. Drink
yeah,
safe,
no.
drink
I
away.
know,
Drink-
no,
drink
make
aware.
sure. Like, I don't want my children drinking in a field. Like,
No, I think it's because I don't know like about your parents or whatever, but mine were relatively strict. Like you
Yeah.
were on about putting on your golf gear. I
Yeah.
used to have to wear leggings and a skirt over the top.
Oh, right.
So I would take the leggings off then, so I was allowed, when I was going out, because my father was like, no. And Mummy would have been like, Giuseppe, just leave her alone.
What's your daddy called?
Giuseppe.
I love
Oh,
that.
wow.
Did you speak to him in English at home or Italian?
Like we speak Italian at home now. My partner's Italian, and our two Waynes speak.
that's
So-
so cool.
Yeah, so
that
they're
is-
bilingual.
I love that.
bilingual. So,
And is he Italian from Italy?
Yes, so his family and my family are from the same town, so that's how we met. And then we were like, I would go over every summer for like 8 weeks in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
And then like my granny and his granny lived like 100 meters away from each other. So,
this.
so we met, and then I just thought it was going to be a summer romance. And then he was just like, after our first kiss, it was like, oh, this is my girlfriend. And I was all, what? I don't know. It's like, I'm only after coming out of a relationship.
Calm down.
Calm down. Put the break. But you know what? It's been the best 13 years of my life. He is amazing.
We all have to mention our partners and husbands now.
Yeah, no, but you know what?
That will be a very short conversation for me. So I think today we've covered a lot of ground. So today we have learned you can have your cake and eat it.
Yes.
Stop crying on social media. Get yourself out to a nightclub. You can dress in your mother's golf gear or not. And keep on dancing.
Yes.
And I think that's where we'll leave it today. Thank you very much, everybody. Pauline, Zara, Giselle,
Thank you.
wonderful panellists.
Thank you very much.
That's wonderful.
I loved it.
Oh, and me, of course.
I loved it.
This has been the podcast from Local Woman Magazine. It's the Keeping an Eye on It podcast, sponsored by Cathedral Eye Clinic. Please do tune in next time.
Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter. Keeping an Eye on It podcast from Local Women Magazine is brought to you by Cathedral Eye Clinic, Northern Ireland's leading eye specialist.